እኛና እነሱ ተባብለን ተቧድነን ስድብና ጥላቻ የክፋት ንግግር እስኪበቃን ጠግበን ባለንበት ዘመን ከወደ ባህር ዳር ከአባይ ማደሪያ ከወንዙ ባሻገር መተዛዘቢያ ሰው አስቀምጧል እግዚአብሔር። ኢትዮጵያዊም አይደል መርጦ ያኖረልን ከሎንዶን የመጣች የውጭ ሀገር ሰው ነች ለትዝብት የሰጠን። እኛ የናቅነውን የተጠየፍነውን ህመም ተሸክማ አሳፍራናለች የኛን ህመም ታማ። እንደምን አድርጌ በሙሉ አይኔ ሊያት ጉዴን ተሸክማ ሀፍረቴን ሸፍና ስትቆም በጽናት። የዛሬው የጀግና መፍጠር እንግዳችን መና ኦኩቤኒን በፍቅር ተቀበሉ። ያው ተመልካቾቻችን እንግዳችን የምታወራው ቋንቋ እንግሊዝኛ ነው። ስለዚህ
በጣም ይቅርታ ትንሽ አማርኛ አይደል? በመሃል የተወሰነ አማርኛ እንሞክራለን። In our tradition we have this culture of washing our guests' legs when they first come to our home. So I'm going to wash your leg. You could have told me before.
መቼም ከዚህ በፊት ታውቂያለሽ?
ትንሽ
ኢትዮጵያ ከመጣሽ ስንት አመት ሆነሽ?
10 years.
You know my English is broken down like a car accident. My English.
Your English is very good.
You know this culture in Amhara, right?
Yeah, we do the same in my culture in Nigeria.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, first of all, as a wife, you have to wash your husband's feet when he comes home from work.
Okay.
But when you have visitors, if they're older than you, elders, the young people, they wash their feet as a sign of respect.
Many people think you're Jamaican, right? Because of your hair.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
In Ethiopia, most Jamaicans have a hair like you.
But in Africa, long time ago, even in Ethiopia, many years ago, everybody had their hair like this. Huh?
Wow.
When the warriors went into war at Adwa, many of them had their hair like this.
Wow. Where were you born?
I was born in London. My father's Nigerian and my mother's Irish, but I lived all my life in London.
Let me take you back 10 years. How and why did you come to Ethiopia?
So I came originally to volunteer in a project which was in Barda. The project was not a real project.
Okay.
I came to volunteer for 3 months, and when I came I met so many women with disabled children, but I met many beautiful children when I was here visiting, and they all said, oh, you'll be like other Ferengies, you'll go back to Europe and you'll forget about us. And I said, me, I'm not like other Ferengies, and I'm not going to forget about you. So I went back to England. I was telling my son, I have exciting news, and he said, oh, I have exciting news.
Okay.
So I said, what's your news? And he said, you're going to be a grandmother. And I've been waiting years to be a grandmother. I have 11 brothers and 1 sister, and they all had grandchildren. I was the only one with no grandchildren. Just when I decided to come to Ethiopia, he told me he was going to have a child. So then I was praying. I didn't know what should I do, because should I stay and in my culture, the grandmothers raise the grandchildren. Yeah.
Oh, in what culture?
In Nigerian culture.
Oh, okay.
For 4 days I was praying. One day I got on the bus in London, and I went upstairs on the bus. I was asking God to give me a sign. And when I sat on the chair, this was on the chair.
Wow, I don't believe this.
And the whole bus was empty, and I could have sat anywhere I wanted to sit. So this is a direct sign from God that I should come to Ethiopia.
Did you know who this is?
At the time, no.
What was your religion?
At that time, I was Catholic.
Okay, you didn't know about Abuna Tekla Haymanot.
No.
But you find the picture on the bus.
Exactly. So that's a direct sign from God that I should come to Ethiopia.
How did you know this is Ethiopian saint?
When I came to Ethiopia before, I see these cards everywhere. I see like Michael and other saints.
Yeah.
So when I see it, and I know this is a mark, I can't read it, but I just know
Thanks to God, we are lucky to have you.
ሚና ማለት ለኔ የልጅ እናት ማለት ነው። እኔ በወልደው እናቱ ናት። እንዲሁም እኔ ጋር ሆኖ በጣም ልገለውም ነበር ይሞትብኝ ነበር እስካሁን ድረስ ያቆየችልኝ እሷ ናት። በጣም እኔ እንጃ ድርጅቱ ምን ብዬ ልንገርህ
እኔ ምን ብዬ መግለጽ ራሱ አልችልም። ለሱ ይሄ ነው ብዬ በአማርኛ መግለጽ አልችልም። መወደስ መደረግ የሚገባት እናት ከእናቶች በላይ እናት መጽፍ የማትችል
እኔ እሱን ለሷ ከሰጠው በኋላ ነው ይሄን ስራ እየሰራው መኖር የቻልኩት ማለት ነው።
Before that, how was your life in London, you know?
I went to university, I got a degree in social work, and I was working with disabled people in London. I was married for 28 years. I had 2 boys, but one of my children died. I have 11 brothers and 1 sister. We're a very close family, and I had lots of friends. I had a good life. I had my own house, my own car. Yeah, I had a child when I was very young, and I wasn't married.
Okay.
And his father was not a very good person.
Okay.
And then I was pregnant with my second child, and the doctors told me that the baby wasn't going to be very well. And his father told me to have an abortion, so I said no, and I had the child. When the baby was maybe 3 months old, I was praying for help, and I went to the market and I saw this man, and I knew that he was my husband. From that day, we stayed together.
Is it even possible to know the one on the first glance?
I think so.
Who speak first? Did you talk to him first, or did he come to you?
He came and talked to me. He asked me if these were my children, and I said yes. And he said, "You have beautiful children," and I said, "Thank you." And then we walked around the market. He helped me do my shopping. Then he took me home, and then the next day he came back, and then the next day he came back, and the next day he came back. I didn't trust men at the time because my children's father was not good.
Okay.
So, but Richard was very patient with me. Maybe 2 years after we met, we got married. And the plan was for us to come to Ethiopia together. But then just before we were due to come back, his mother in Jamaica was sick.
Okay.
So he went to look after his mother, and he was supposed to come later. And his mother got very sick, and then he wanted me to leave Ethiopia and go to Jamaica.
Okay.
But how can I leave? God wants me to be in Ethiopia. So he said if I don't go, he's going to divorce me. So he divorced me. But he's a good man, a very good man.
You told me that I came here with Ethiopian for a project.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah.
What was that project, and what was your role?
So part of my reason to come was to see what facilities there were here for disabled children.
Why would you care?
Why would you not care?
Nobody cares whether there is a facility or not in Ethiopia.
You know, no man is an islander. You can't just live in luxury and forget and not think about other people. When I came for the 3 months, I met so many disabled children that I look at and I know I can help them. Where did you find these disabled children?
There
was a school in Bardar.
Okay.
And there were some disabled children there. And then when people heard that I came from Europe, and they brought disabled children to meet me.
Okay.
And there's a physiotherapist in Bardar, and he brought disabled children to meet me. Okay. And I fell in love with so many children. When I went back to England, I'm thinking about them all the time.
Yeah, they keep you up all night.
Yeah, and especially because their families don't understand them, and so they don't treat them well because they don't understand them, and they don't think that they have the same needs as we all have. So when I came, and especially when you come from Europe, people listen to you more.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why. So when I talk and I say to them, you know, your child, so I would say to their mothers, God gave you a special gift.
Okay.
So that means you're blessed by God with this child.
Yes.
If you treat this child very badly, you hurt God's heart. Yeah. But if you say you love God and God gave you this child, so love this child. And the more you love a child, the more they grow, they change. Yeah? Because if a child's not loved, even if they're disabled, they understand that they're not loved.
Wow.
They feel it. Everyone feels it. We're human beings. Wow. We feel it, yeah? So they become withdrawn. They don't grow as they should. But when you show them love, they change. They blossom and they respond to you. Doctors here tell mothers, your child is nothing. Don't bother to feed him. So many women, they put their children under the bed. One little boy, 7 years, he lived under a bed in a box. 7 years. But it's not that these mothers are cruel.
Yeah.
They just don't understand.
Yeah.
So when you talk to them and you teach them, your child is the same as any child. They have the same needs as any child. You just have to love them and they'll change.
Yeah.
So then when you start to love them and then they feel like they have a value,
Yeah.
when you love someone, that makes them feel important. Same for children, all children, whether they're disabled or they're not disabled. Children are children.
Yes.
Yeah? And human beings are human beings. And all human beings need is love and food and water.
That's a big lesson, even for me. Okay, how was the foot massage?
Your foot massage was amazing. Your wife is a very lucky woman. And I have to bless you. I wish you very, very long life. And I wish
Amen.
you many, many children.
Amen.
10 children, 12 children like this.
Amen.
Yes, again. Hop.
I have a gift for you. It's called Gabi. You know Gabi
I
in
know,
Ethiopia.
Gabi, yeah.
You know, it's Kremt, rain fall down in Ethiopia. So this is a gift from Donkey Tube.
Oh.
We really appreciate what you are doing to us. Thank you so much.
በጣም አመሰግናለሁ።
Now we are going to fulfill በቆሎ and kulit. Yes, you will see. Yeah, eyes. No English for በቆሎ ፍልፍል. You eyes like that ማለት ነው.
Okay.
You told me that your husband was not willing to come to Ethiopia with you, but what about the rest of your family, your friends, your colleagues? What did they say when you tell them you decide to come here and help these disabled children?
To be honest, the only person whose opinion really mattered to me was my son. And he said, Mum, you've lived your life for everyone else, now is your turn. Live your life how you want. But my friends and family have visited me here. They appreciate why I'm here.
What was your plan when you came first? Did you have enough money?
I had nothing. I came, was waiting for God to show me his plan. Because I sold my house in London and my car. I sold everything really.
Okay.
And I gave to my son because he was just starting his family then.
Okay.
And because I knew I couldn't be there with him, I wanted to give him something.
So you don't even have money for hotel? Then where did you stay?
So I stayed with my friend Sarah. She'd been living in Bardar for maybe 20 years. And I started volunteering at the rehabilitation centre.
For whom?
So I was working with disabled people, either had accidents or a stroke or things like that, and I was doing massage for them.
Are you a professional therapist?
No, I'm a professional massage therapist, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
አፉ በይኝ እናትዬ ባለሙያን ያሸውት ይቅርታ በዚህ እጄ ደንቁዬ ጥዬሻለሁ Don't tell anybody about what we did today, you know. What happens in donkey stays in donkey. Yeah. So you started giving free service.
Yeah, in the rehabilitation centre in Kabyle 11.
Yeah.
So I was working with people who had accidents and become disabled or had strokes.
Okay.
And I was doing therapeutic massage.
Okay.
And then I cashed in my pension in England and I rented a house. And then I asked God for some children. Well, I met lots of children on the streets, and I used to give them money and ask them to buy me bread, and they would run away with my money.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Because I just knew that I would find the right children. So one day, these two children, they came. I was sitting at a juice bar, and they came because I'm a foreigner. They came to say hello.
Yeah.
And I gave them 100 birr, and I asked them to go and get me one bread.
Okay.
And they did. And they came back with the one bread, and they gave me back the change.
Okay.
These children were so poor, they didn't have shoes on their feet.
Okay.
So I said, you can keep the bread. And they went running off down the road, and every day I did this for maybe a week. Every day they gave me back my money, I gave them the bread, and they went running. And so one day I said, where do you go? And they said, our mum, she lives over there, and we go to give her the bread.
Okay.
So I went to meet their mother.
Okay.
She was very poor, very, very poor. She asked me if I would take her children. So I took Elsa and Jonas, they were my first two.
Okay.
Now they're 19, Jonas is going to university.
Wow.
Elsa's going to university next year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm so happy. And then maybe a year later, someone knocked the door, and then I opened the door, and there was this little boy. A woman said to me, he's deaf, nobody wants him, and will you take him? So I said yes. So then I had 3. So that was Getahun.
Who is taking care of them while you're working at the physiotherapy?
I put them in school. Getahun went to another school because they're for deaf children. So I think 3 years after that, I met a child on the street washing shoes, and I started to talk to him, and he said he was trying to raise the money because he wanted to go to school. Okay. And so I took him. He was very funny because every time he'd say, "Oh, you're going to send me back," and I'd say, "No, no, I'm keeping you."
To where?
To the streets. No, I'm not. But I think he never believed me until I bought him a bed. When I bought him a bed, then he knew he was staying.
Okay.
And then he had a friend who was living in a guard's hut. He was homeless as well, and he wanted to go to school. So I took him. So now he's going to university as well now.
Congratulations. So how many kids have you raised so far?
I think it's about 8.
8.
So far, yeah. And then I've got these 5 at home. And then her and Min Tesnot and Indalu. They're all disabled. They all live with me. Her mother passed away, and her father's very old. Couldn't look after her. So he gave her to me about 2 years ago. So she's been with me for 2 years. Min Tesnot his father's very poor. His mother left when he was born because he's disabled. She didn't want him. And he's got a very severe heart problem. So if he catches infection or anything, he could die very easily. So his father asked me if I would take him. So he's been living with me now for 8 years. They told me he was going to live 6 months. I brought him here to Addis, and the doctor told me, take him home and look after him. He'll die in 6 months. He's now 14 this year.
እሷ መግለጽም አልችልላትም። እኔ ማገዝ የማልችላትን መርዳት የማልችለው በቃ
ሚና ማለት እንጃ እንዴት አድርጌ ልግለጽልህ። በጣም ብሩክ ናት።
ተመልካቾቻችን ወደ ዋናው ታሪካችን ልንገባ ነው። እስካሁን ያወራንላችሁ መንደርደሪያው ነው። በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። በመላው ዓለም ላላችሁ ክርስቲያኖች ሁሉ የዘንድሮውን የመጥምቀ መለኮት ቅዱስ ዮሐንስ የልደት በዓል የት ለማክበር አስባችኋል? ለምን ካሊፎርኒያ ላይ አንገናኝም? ጁላይ 8 በሆተ ሰማይ መጥምቀ መለኮት ቅዱስ ዮሐንስ ወቅድስት አርሴማ ገዳም ኢትዮጵያውያን ተረባርበን በገዛ ነው በታላቁ ገዳማችን በታላቅ የንግስ ስነ ስርዓት የመጥምቀ መለኮት ቅዱስ ዮሐንስ የልደት በዓል ይከበራል። ቅዳሜ ጁላይ 8 በስፍራው በአካል እንገናኝ። እህታችን መና እንግዲህ አባቷ ናይጄሪያዊ ነው፣ እናቷ ደግሞ አይሪሽ ናቸው። ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ የምትሰራው ስራ ገና አልተነገረም። አሁን 8 ልጆችን አሳድጋ ለቁም ነገር እንዳበቃች ነው የነገረችን። ግን እጅግ በጣም ከባዱን ወላጅ ለልጁ የማያደርገው እግዚአብሔር በሷ ላይ አድሮ ብርታቱን ሰጥቷት በቸርነቱ እየሰራ ነው። አባቷ ናይጄሪያዊ ነው። ይሄን ስራ ከፈለገች ናይጄሪያ ሄዳ ልትሰራው ትችል ነበር። ባደገችበት ከተማ በለንደን እንግሊዝም ይሄንኑ ስራ መስራት ይቻል ነበር። ነገር ግን ኢትዮጵያ መታ በብሔርም በቋንቋም ከሷ ጋር በፍጹም ለማይገናኙ ሰዎች ይሄንን ስራ እየሰራች ህይወቷን እድሜዋን ዘመኗን መስጠቷ ትዳሯን መስዋዕት አድርጋ መምጣቷ ያንን የመሰለ የምቾት ኑሮ ትታ መምጣቷ ቤቷን መኪናዋን ሸጣ አሁን ያለችበት ህይወት ውስጥ መሆኗ ለምንድነው ምን ዋጋስ አስከፍሏት ያውቃል ስለ ኢትዮጵያስ ምን ተሰማት ሀገራችንን በሷ መነጽር እንዴት አየቻት እነዚህን ዋና ዋና ጉዳዮች ከዚህ እንደሚከተለው እንጨዋወታለን Let me go back to your name and is it Menna or Mina?
Menna.
Menna. What does it mean?
It means Yeni.
Yeni. Mine.
This is mine.
Wow. After you came to Ethiopia, when did you decide to open the center?
The center kind of grew. So in the beginning it was like that. I had 6 children in the house.
Okay.
And 6 months I would go to Europe and I would work and I would bring money back to rent the house, to pay the children's school fees and to look after these 6 children. And one day the Kebele office, they came to me and they said, it's not a problem that you look after these children, but you should get a license. So I didn't really understand like your processes and things.
Yeah.
But I had a very good friend at the time, Abraham, and he helped me to get a license. And we started the project.
Just to raise the 6 children?
Yeah. So then travel backwards and forwards from London. I would work as many hours as I could when I was in London and then bring the money back to Ethiopia. And then I got a license. And at that time I was called the One Love Day Service. Unfortunately that didn't work out very well and I lost that license. I lost that manager as well. Pretty much I thought the project would end, but then BOFED, Bureau of Finance and Economic Development,
Okay.
were very kind to me and they understood that I just wanted to look after the children.
Okay.
So they sent me my new manager, Belay, because Belay has a lot of experience in projects, working in projects. And obviously he speaks Amharic and he's committed to the children. The project just grew then. I have another friend who's a physiotherapist, Gebre, in Barda, and he used to volunteer with me. And then a French lady came to visit the project one day. She said they wanted to adopt the children. And I said, no, I don't agree with international adoption. Ethiopian children should stay in Ethiopia. And so I said, no, you can't have my children, but if you want to help us, then you can help us financially. So they started to sponsor the project, which enabled us to hire staff. It's an expensive project because all of the children need diapers.
They need a special treatment, yeah?
Yeah, they need lots of medication. A lot of them have seizures. So we pay for their medication. Obviously we pay for their diapers. Most of the families are very poor. We provide them with food. It kind of grew without me planning it. You know, God's work, huh? God sent me the right people. Every time I met a challenge, I would pray. And so when I lost my other manager, I was praying like, I need someone I can trust. I need someone who speaks English. I need somebody who understands all these processes that go on in Ethiopia. And so God sent me Belay. And then we developed the project. Now, as I say, we've got 20 children. We have a little minibus that brings them to the project every morning. We give them breakfast, we give them a shower, we give them clean clothes. And then in the morning, I train the staff, they give them massage. Then we give them lunch. Then after lunch, we separate into 4 groups. We do water therapy, music therapy, physiotherapy and sensory play. So the children rotate different activities in the afternoon. You know, all of our children are going to need support for their whole lives. They're never going to, like, she's never going to be able to work. Her brain's fine, but she's never going to be able to work and look after herself. None of the children will ever be independent. But we try and teach them how to feed themselves, how to walk so that they can be a bit more independent about where they want to be, how to dress themselves, trying to teach them how to talk. But a lot of the children learn to talk not only by being spoken to, but by when they suck from their mother's breast, they develop these muscles for speech. But a lot of our children, their mothers didn't breastfeed them. So they don't develop these muscles and they don't learn to speak.
Why don't they breastfeed them while they were infant?
I think many of the mothers were told by doctors, don't bother. So most of the children don't suck, like even to drink from a straw. So we do activities to try and teach them to use these muscles so that we can ultimately teach them how to speak. That would be the long-term aim. We haven't been successful in speech yet, but we've had a few children that have learned to walk, feed themselves. She can feed herself.
Wow.
She can dress herself.
That's amazing.
Yeah. This is Tinish Mekdes. She's 8 years old, but she was born with a growth hormone deficiency, so she's not grown past about 18 months.
And after you came to Ethiopia, are there opportunities you missed to keep doing this?
Well, I missed my husband.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. I've missed seeing many of my nieces and nephews be born.
እቺን ሴት ለየት የሚያረጋት ምንድነው? ፓራላይዝድ የሆኑ በራሳቸው የማይንቀሳቀሱ የማይበሉ የማይጠጡ ከተወለዱ ጀምሮ እስከ ህልፈተ ህይወታቸው ካልጋ የማይነሱ ህጻናት ልጆች ያሏቸው እናቶች ቤት በብዛት እየሄድን ቪዲዮ እንሰራለንና ቪዲዮ ስንሰራ አብዛኛው ቤት ባሎች ጥለው ሄደዋል። አይተው ልጁ አልድን ሲል ጥለው ሄደዋል። እናቶች ደግሞ በመከራና በስቃይ ልጃቸውን እያሳደጉ ነው። ጥቂቶች ደግሞ ለማደጎ አሳልፈው ሰጥተዋል። እቺ እናት መንፈስ ቅዱስ የነገራትን ተከትላ ከለንደን የሞቀ ኑሮ አንትታ ምንም ብር ሳትይዝ ኢትዮጵያ መጣ 20 ህፃናትን ዴኬር ከፍታ እየተንከባከበች ነው። እኛኔና እናንተ ግን ምን እያረግን ነው? መና Was there a time that you have been misunderstood by people in Ethiopia? What's the most tragic moment of your journey with these kids?
They're very fragile children, and since we've opened the project, 4 of our children have died. Yeah, it's hard when they die. You try to think about what you did for them when they were alive, but I don't want them to die.
What was their name?
The first one who died was Amani. He had leukemia.
Okay.
Bless him, he came to Addis for treatment, and then they said that they couldn't do anything more for him and they sent him home. I went to visit him, and when I visited him, he opened his eyes and we had a cuddle, and then he died about 10 minutes later. Then Tadase died in holy water. He had a heart attack in holy water and he passed away. And then I had a little boy called Mikias who had hydrocephalus, like when they have water on their brain. Yeah, his head was massive, and when we met him, he was dying anyway because he hadn't had a shunt fitted. So we raised the money to get him operated on. He lived 5 years after that. Sadly, he died when I was in Europe. So, and then 5 months ago, Macabel passed away. No one really knows how Macabel died. He'd been with me since he was 2.
እኛ በአገራችን አንዳችን ለአንዳችን ብዙ ክፋት በመናስብበት በዚህ ዘመን የኛ ልጆች ሲሞቱ እንዲም ያለቅስልን። Did you know anything about Ethiopian politics, racism, the bad things they talk in social media?
Before I came here, I didn't know anything. Since I've been here, I don't understand the politics, if I'm honest, I don't, and it's based in history probably. But what I do understand is Ethiopians killing Ethiopians is not right. For me, one of the things I loved when I first came to Ethiopia, how much people seem to look after each other, especially in the villages. If I took a gift to somebody, they would share it between everyone in the village. Yeah, I love that so much. That made me feel like these people are just really good people. Because you see them killing, Tigray is killing Amara killing Roma killing. Why? And everyone's wearing this, but still you could stick a knife in somebody or shoot somebody, and that one day we all will stand before God and we will all have to explain our actions. And I pray for them. How will you be able to explain that to God? How will you say to God, I killed a child because she was Tigrian, or I killed a child because she was Amara? How will you explain that? That's sad, really sad. Yeah. And these things happened in Nazi Germany, where propaganda put people against people, and people didn't see that they were being manipulated. Yeah. While you're busy killing each other, yeah, politicians are doing what they want to do. Yeah. And you guys are killing each other for them. You need to stop. You judge people by their character. How can you judge people? Especially in the countryside where people are very poor, they're so generous. When I go and visit people in the countryside, they will give you their shoe if they have it. Anything they will give you. I never see this in London. People say to me, why you give up Europe? Because of things like that. There's no God, there's no love, there's no heart in London. Everyone's looking for money, bitcha. You know? But here, when you come here, especially when I first came, and I would visit poor people in their houses, and they would give me their food. But they don't have anything, but they would give me. And because I'm foreign, I can't drink the water, they would take their last money to buy me bottled water. And you'd see people go running out to get bottled water for me. I'm not special, but they would do this for me. And it made me love the people of Ethiopia, really love them. So when I see them killing each other, it really makes me sad, yeah.
One of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned in my life. Thank you so much. Let me take you to your spirituality. How's your connection to God? How's your spiritual life?
So when I was young, I was raised as Catholic. God, I said my father was very strict. And so if you did anything wrong, any little thing, he would lock me in a cupboard. When he used to lock me in the cupboard in the dark, I just felt God's presence. Like I just knew it was God. Like I don't know, I was a child. He would put me in there and I would be scared. But as soon as I was in there, I would feel this feeling of love and protection. I've always felt like God is with me all the time. And I've had some difficult times in my life, and I just feel that God's just been there, like for me, all the time. So I kind of grew, not in a religious way, but in a spiritual way. So I became Orthodox, mainly because of my children, to be honest. All my children were going to church, and I wanted to go to church with them. And when my first daughter, Masti, when she had her baby christened, I wasn't allowed to go in the church. And this made me really sad. So I started to talk to a friend of mine, Habtamu, he's an amazing man. I used to go to Georgi's church in Barda, and whenever I just felt troubled, I would go there, and I would just find peace. It just felt like it did when I was a child in the cupboard. So one day I was there and the priest was talking to me, and I started to talk to him about becoming Orthodox, about being baptized. And I went through like 6 months of teaching, and at the end it just felt like that's what God wanted me to do. But when I felt it in Georgi's, it felt like, this is God for me. So they baptized me in Georgi's 3-4 years ago. So I'm Fikerta Xavier.
Fikerta Xavier.
Yes.
Wow, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And I just feel that since I converted, I find more peace. And of course, I then learned who Tekla Heimanot was. And I realized how many times Tekla Heimanot has been in my life. One day I was in London and I was in an old bookstore, and I found this book, and it just had a picture of Ethiopia on the front. So I bought it. I didn't read it, I just bought it. And it's a children's book. She loves this book. And when I got home, it's the story of Tekla Heimanot, his life story.
Wow.
And I didn't know.
And let me tell you one more surprise. It's Tekla Heimanot who gives you a chance to meet me.
How?
Because Tekla Heimanot is my father. He gave me all these opportunities. He changed my life. You know, It's at Debre Libanos Kadam where my life is changed. I was nobody back then. But since I stepped the foot at the Klaimanot's monastery, he changed everything. Since then, all the greatest things in my life happened in the day of the Klaimanot. Yeah. So still the miracle of the Klaimanot is between us.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Even Angwash, when I talked to her, she said, oh, it was Tekla Haimanot's day when I came to your house. So Tekla Haimanot brought her. Now she has a baby boy, he's like my life. Elsa and Jonas, the day that they moved into my house was Tekla Haimanot's day. The day that Ermias came was Tekla Haimanot's day. So many times he's just been in my life and something amazing has happened. And then he bring me you. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
It is.
Last time I came to your center, which is your home and your office or your working place, you told me that it's rented, right?
Yeah.
How many kids are getting the help right now?
At the moment we have 20 children come every day.
You pick them from their home with your car.
Yeah.
You take care of them the whole day, and at night you drop them to their home so that their mothers can work.
Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing projects in Ethiopia. How is your health doing this business, this charity for the last 8 to 10 years?
Well, I've been sick a couple of times. I had to go back to Europe for treatment, and then recently I was sick and the doctors told me to go back to Europe. You know, I just had an ongoing health problem. So I had cancer before. Because when I left Europe, they said, if you don't have this operation, you'll die.
How many years before?
Oh, 4 years ago.
Okay.
So I was thinking about it, but to do that treatment, you have to stay in Europe for 18 months. I'm not staying in Europe for 18 months. You're crazy. So I said, no.
Even for your life?
That would kill me. Being in Europe for 18 months would kill me, definitely. God doesn't live in Europe. There's no sense of God. The churches are being closed and turned into apartments. So I feel like if I'm going to die, I'll die in Ethiopia. No problem for me. So I came back to Ethiopia, but I was in a lot of pain. A friend of mine took me to this church near Zege, and I was there for 2 weeks. And every day the priest beat me. Every day. Oh my God, he beat me everywhere. I had bruises all over my body. Yeah, hard as well. Not like little like this. He like all here in my arms, everywhere, like soft. I was bruised. My whole body was bruised. 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, I went back to Europe, and I went to see the doctor who told me that I was going to be dead. And I said, see, I'm not dead. And he said, let me check your body. And he checked, it's gone. And he couldn't believe me. And he's telling me, you must have had treatment somewhere. So I told him I went holy water in Ethiopia, and he didn't believe me. Chikarino, I don't care if you don't believe me. It's fact. I didn't get chemotherapy and I didn't get radiotherapy. I got God's therapy and I'm well. Like I knew in my body that God was going to cure me.
Yeah, that's why he brought you here.
Exactly. So he's not going to let me die.
Yeah, he's never going to let you die.
That's what I thought.
This is by far the most spiritual, heartwarming, incredible interview I've ever done in my life.
Thank you.
So you are doing whatever you can with these 20 children.
Yeah.
Where is your fund coming from? How are you affording the rent, the food, the medication?
At the moment we have French donors. You know, everyone knows everything in Ethiopia now has gone, well, not just Ethiopia, the world is expensive, but the money that they send didn't change. Mm-hmm. So it's becoming very difficult for us to maintain the service.
Because of the cost of living.
Because, yeah, I mean, diapers are so expensive now.
Yeah.
We try and make cuts for the staff more than the children. I feel really bad, but like they used to have coffee every day. Coffee's so expensive. So now they have tea, and I don't think they're happy about that. But we have to just make cuts in like food. We reduce the amount of food that the staff can have. It's a struggle, really. At the moment, we're struggling. If we don't get funding, we're going to have to close the project. Like, what will happen to the children? I have a residence permit based on my work. So if they close the project, I'll be forced to leave Ethiopia. And then what happens to Wineshed and Mintesna and Nindalu and all my children? So I worry about this. I think last year I had a stroke. I think it was
because of the stress.
Yeah.
Your children told me last time she stresses so much about the project, about things, about the house rent, the food. How much is the house rent?
22 a month.
22,000 a month. Your plan is increasing the number of children, making the project big, supporting a lot of families, but now you can't even afford to pay the rent for the house.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you know, I was trying to rent a house for my family, like to take out of the project so that we had our own home. Yeah, because my children live in a project. I live in a project, and it's difficult living in a project. So what I wanted to do was rent my own house, and then the rooms that we use upstairs, we could extend the project. Like we have one nurse for 3 children. So every time if you take 3 more children, you have to take another nurse. So that's wages. And to be honest, my staff are amazing.
Yeah.
We pay them very small wages because we don't have money, but they still work really hard. I appreciate them because I know life is difficult for them, and the money we pay them probably just around pays their rent. I don't know how they survive on the money we pay them. And I do feel bad, you know, when they ask.
Paying little money.
Yeah, because, you know, they're struggling.
Yeah.
And so they ask us for wage increase, but we don't have the money to give them more money. But they still come to work every day and they still look after the children. So I give thanks for them. But, you know, they're not going to be able to do it forever because people have to survive.
You said if you don't get money by now, you are forced to close the project.
You know, the hardest thing to do is to say no. And especially when the mothers, they're young and they don't have any option. And they come to us for help and they say, like, you're my last chance. And I still have to say no. Now I don't say no anymore. I make Belai say no. Because I'm not very good at the whole saying no thing.
እግዚአብሔር ሊምር ሲል ያስጨንቃል። በተለይ ትልቅ ሊሰጥ ሲል በደንብ ያስጨንቃል። ልክ ልጅ ሊወለድ ሲል እናት በጣም እንደምታምጠው ማለት ነው። እንደው አውቀናል የምንል ሰዎች ራሱ የእግዚአብሔርን የቸርነት መጠን ገና አልተረዳንም፣ ምንም ጫፉ ጋር አልደረስንምና በሷ ላይ አድሮ እነዚህን 20 ልጆች የሚንከባከብ የሚጠብቅ የሚያበላ የሚያጠጣ እግዚአብሔር አሁን መና እንደፈራችሁ በገንዘብ እጦት ፕሮጀክቱ ተዘግቶ እነዚህ ልጆች ጎዳና ላይ ሊበተናቸው አይደለም። እንደውም በዚህ አጋጣሚ ሌሎች በየቤታቸው ያሉ ብዙ ልጆችን መና እንድትቀበል ትልቅ የራሷ መሬት ላይ ትልቅ ህንጻ ገንብታ ለብዙ ህፃናት እንድትተርፍ ህፃናቱ አሁን ከሚያገኙት የተሻለ ምግብ የተሻለ መድኃኒት የተሻለ ፍቅር እንዲያገኙ ነው የእግዚአብሔር እቅድ። እኛ ደግሞ የእግዚአብሔር እቅድ አስፈጻሚዎች ነን። እንግዲህ ለእናንተ እኔ እንደዚህ ነው የምታረጉት እንዲደረግ አላላችሁም። በዚህ በረከት እኔ መሳተፍ ፈልጋለሁ። ሁላችንም ቀኝ እጅ ይሰጥ ግራ እጅ ይላል። እዚህ ስር በመናስቀምጠው የስልክ ቁጥርና የባንክ አካውንት ዛሬ ትልቅ የበረከት ቀን ነው፣ የመዳን ቀን ነው፣ ትልቅ የምጽዋት ቀን ነው። እሳትን ውሃ እንደሚያጠፋው ምጽዋት ኃጢያትን ታስተሰርያለች ይላል መጽሐፍ ቅዱስ። የተቸገሩ ሰዎች ናቸው እነዚህ ህፃናት። በራሳቸው መንቀሳቀስ መብላት መጠጣት መራመድ አይችሉም፣ ምን መናገር አይችሉም፣ ፓራላይዝ ናቸው 100%። እቺ ሰው ደግሞ ያው አማራ፣ ትግሬ፣ ኦሮሞ፣ አፋር፣ ቤኒሻንጉል፣ ጋምቤላ ምንም የኢትዮጵያ ዘር የለባትም። ናይጄሪያና አይሪሽ ነች። ኢትዮጵያ መታ ግን የኛን ሸክም እንደዚህ ተሸክማለችና ስለ ኢትዮጵያውያን ደግነት የምታውቀውን እውነት የምናረጋግጥበት ሰዓት አሁን ነው። ለሷም ኢትዮጵያውያን ምን አይነት ህዝቦች እንደሆነን አሁን ኢትዮጵያውያንና ኤርትራውያን አሁን እየደወላችሁ ያው ታሳዩታላችሁ ማለት ነው። ለዓለም ሄዳ እንድታወራ ኢትዮጵያ እንደዚህ አይነት ሀገር ነች እንዴ እንድትል የምትችሉ በፍቅር የምትችሉ በሐሳብ አቅም ያላችሁ በገንዘብ የመናን ፕሮጀክት የመናን ሐሳብ ሰፊ አድርገን በሷ በኩል ሸክማችንን እንድናቀል አደራ እላለሁ። እግዚአብሔር ያዘጋጀላትን ደስታና ሰርፕራይዝ እንድታይ ምክንያት እንድትሆኑ ጋብዛችኋለሁ። መደነቅ አለባት። እንግሊዝኛ የምትችሉ ሰዎች በእንግሊዝኛ እየደወላችሁ አውሯት። ባህር ዳር የምትሄዱ ሰዎች በአጋጣሚ እዛ የምትኖሩ አካባቢ ላይ ያላችሁ ሰዎች ዳይፐር እያያዛችሁ በአካል እየሄዳችሁ ጠይቋት፣ ወይም እየደወላችሁ ምን ሊያዝ እያላችሁ የሚያስፈልገውን ነገር እያያዛችሁ ጠይቋት። ከጎንሽ ነን አለንሽ በሏት። እንዲህ አይነት ሰዎች እንዲበዙ ከፈለግን ያሉትን ማክበር ግድ ነው። የመጨረሻ አንድ ስጦታ አለ ለሷ። Have you seen the show that I made with my mom?
Yes. Yes, that's the first time I saw you wash someone's feet.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it, it's in Amharic, but I watched it.
Yeah, really. ጀግና ፍጠር ላይ ባለፈው እናቴ ነበረች የቀረበችው የለበሰችውን ቀሚስ አይታችሁታል። በጣም ቆንጆ ነው። ከሄለን ብራይዳል ነው የመጣው። ሄለን ብራይዳል ኢን ቦሌ አለምነሽ ፕላዛ ላይ በአዲስ መልክ ሱቅ ከፍታለች። እንደምታውቋቸው የልደት የሰርግ መልስና የተለያዩ ዝግጅቶች አልባሳት፣ የህፃናት ያዋቂ ካባዎች፣ ዘመናዊ ባህላዊ የሙሽራና የሚዜ ልብሶች ከሄለን ብራይዳል በ0914 58 27 27 ሄሎ በሏት ሄለንን። የተወደዳችሁ እንግዲህ ኢትዮጵያውያን ለምናከብረው ሰው የምንሸልመውን የክብር ሽልማት ለመና በእናንተ ስም አበረክትላታለሁ። ከዛ የመሰነባበቻ መልእክት ተቀብለን ለያያለን። Yeah, it's the most prestigious clothes in Ethiopia.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Yeah, this is a gift from all Ethiopian people for the sacrifices you paid so much. Don't if you know the sacrifices to Ethiopian people and children.
Oh my God.
Are you cold? All the Ethiopian people love and respect you. You deserve a lot more than this, and not only on this earth, but God, I know He has a huge place for you up there. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I love you. I respect you so much. People don't have your phone number, they expect to hear your number, to call you. And
09
እሺ
43 54
54
59
59
71.
ዘበአንድ ላይ አለ።
Just if there's anyone out there who would like to be in partnership with our organisation, we'd very much need some support and help. Anyone wants to donate diapers, money, yeah. Diapers the big expense in our project. Saying, oh shit, please.
Okay. የኢትዮጵያ ንግድ ባንክ 1444 08 13 61 የመባረኪያ ቁጥር ነው። ዋን ሄርት ሆልነስ ሴንተር